and all in that space. Zelensky calls the Russian team in Turkey phony as Putin skips the peace talks. Trump says nothing will happen on Ukraine till he meets Putin. And it aids a diplomat and a spy. Who is Putin sending to Turkey? That's what folks are asking, and all along those lines. So officials from Russia and Ukraine are in Turkey, but will peace talks take place? That is what folks are asking. And dozens are killed in overnight airstrikes on southern Gaza City, hospitals say, and Palestinians report heavy Israeli strike across Gaza. 115 said killed since the morning. Airstrikes in Gan Yanis kill over 50 as Gaza endures a second night of bombing. So that is something that folks are talking about as well. And Trump's pledge to the Middle East: no more lectures on how to live. Trump tosses previous taboos in reorientation of the East foreign policy. So that's what something that people are talking about as well, including the U.S. Saudi 142 billion defense deal, which sparks questions. And Trump lands in the UAE, the final leg of his Mid-East trip. Trump's Middle East trips. President floats progress on Iran's nuclear deal and India tariffs. Trump highlights potential pay raise for troops and touts the military reforms in Qatar's speech. So that's something folks are talking about as well. And Valerie Marquez, a TikTok influencer, was shot dead during a live stream in Mexico. The live stream murderer of an influencer reveals the dark reality of femicide. So, Mexican influencer Valerie Marquez killed on a TikTok live stream. So, she was a beauty influencer, 23, and all in that space. And is Syria's new president a U.S. ally or an enemy? That is what some folks are asking, and all in that way. So Syrian leaders Shahriz passed from global jihad to meeting Trump. So that's something that people are talking about as well. And South Korea's female free divers, TV has made stars of the Hanaeo, but what is their real story? The all female free divers of Jeju Island have a superpower in their genes. So, did South Korea's legendary female free divers evolve for a life underwater? Scientists are finding new evidence as they're talking about Korea's aging extreme divers that could hold the key to treating chronic disease. So, that's something that folks are talking about as well. So, maybe they've got the key to living longer. And India strikes on the Pakistan, damaged six airfields, post analysis finds. So that is something that is another conflict that is going on as well. Let me get to some U.S. news, then I'll bring up my co host and all along those lines and see what they've got on their mind. But Supreme Court to weigh orders halting Trump's birthright citizenship ban. Trump presses the Supreme Court on birthright citizenship ahead of oral arguments. And the sole survivor of a deadly North Cades climbing accident shares their details. So, Bellevue father among three rock climbers killed after the North Cascades tragedy, and all in that way. So, U.S. presented Iran with nuclear deals proposal. So, that's something that folks are talking about as well. And House Republicans are zeroing in on a sweeping tax package. So that's something else that folks will be talking about as they push forward plans to cut taxes, Medicaid, and food stamps. And Harvard Law is paid $27 for a copy of the Magna Carta. So, surprise, so folks are saying it's an original. So, Harvard's cheap copy of the Magna Carta turned out to be from 1300. So, in Harvard's archives, British scholars find a lost copy of the Magna Carta. So, that's something that folks are talking about as well. And Boeing and GE Aerospace get Qatar Airways orders after Saudi AI tech deal. So, like I said, a lot's going on in the world, and we'll get to some of those, including the Missouri lawmakers to put abortion on the ballot again, seeking another ban of that particular uh, process, and all along those lines. So, severe storms are erupting over the plains, kicking off a week long weather threat. So, if you're in the plains, you got to deal with severe thunderstorms and tornadoes threatening major cities in the Midwest. And Trump to meet South African president amid deteriorating relationships. So the road to Trump's embrace of white South Africans dispute Trump and must claim of genocide against white farmers in their country. So right, like I said, I'm getting ready to bring in the founder of the network along with others as well and see what they've got to say about a number of these stories and what's on their minds and all along those lines. So definitely that was just a quick update. I know I've got Nick Palveda, the founder of the network, as well as Rick Rosner, and we'll see if others join in the conversation also. So, how's everybody doing? Like I said, a lot's going on. Got a things that are taking place in the world. So what's going on in y'all's world?
I want my airplane. I want my airplane. Is Qatar going to give me an airplane too, Mark?
Well, Christy Nome is ahead of you. She flies around in a Gulfstream private jet on her immigration business, but she wants a new one. Her Gulfstream's, I don't know, 20 years old. She wants a new one for $50 million.
Yeah, they have a new one that's out. I forgot the number on it, but it's really good. It's really sleek. And so the thing is, I want a private jet. This airplane to Trump is very interesting because somebody said it violates the annulments clause in the Constitution. And if you don't do it right, the answer is yes, it does. In other words, you're not supposed to take gifts or titles from foreign countries. And it's, I think it's Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution, something like that, subsection C. But so the thing is, the airplane, now there's a workaround, and that's Congress approves it. So the thing is, it's not like it's 100% bad. It's just right on the edge. What do you have to say about that?
All right. So Congress, Laura Ingraham, no, Ann Coulter, and other conservatives are saying this isn't a lot different from when France gave us the Statue of Liberty in the 1870s. And
something like that.
And
okay, now time out. The devil's in the details, because it is in the Constitution that government officials cannot take titles.
So Congress voted on the Statue of Liberty, said, yes, we can take it. Also, Grover Cleveland didn't get to fly around in the Statue of Liberty, didn't get to take it with him when he left office. The way they're structuring this deal.
Hey, Rick, just really quickly, along those same lines, we got Dr. Sharif, and to Nick's point and everything, I want to know, does Dr. Sharif have a plane in Bangladesh? And if not, why does he have a plane? Because he could have a plane too.
Do you have a private plane in Bangladesh, Dr. Sharif? That's the question.
Yes, Bangladesh, like we have plane and all of the things. What you are discussing, but I think that you are discussing about this Trump gift from Middle East, right? And
yes, I want to know. We want to know if you have a plane of your own, not if you have a commercial plane system, but do you have a plane of your own?
Okay. If you ask me, I do not have nothing. Because I develop a noble cause for this World Talent Economic Forum. Whatever we earn, I have my own properties, and what we have, I distribute all of my property for human resource developments. I do not own any house, any luxury car, any plane, nothing. But that's for I'm sure that there are millions of people around the world. They love me so much. They work with me, they respect me, and they engage with my community for development and all of the things. I'm not a rich man at all, so I do not have plane or anything.
Well, I'm gonna try a survey.
We're going to have to teach you basic money grubbing principles, and have you watch some very important movies in the United States, like Wall Street, The Wolf of Wall Street, things of that nature, to understand how greed and avarice works. Okay, so this way you can become a little bit more greedy, because it sounds to me you're not greedy enough. Okay,
it sounds like he's not greedy enough and everything like that.
Wall Street, he goes, greed is good. Okay,
that is what the movie said. It said that greed was good, and that this was a good thing to have, and all along those lines. I did have a question for you, Nick, and I'm gonna try a survey since I'm at work at the HI and everything. So I don't think any of my coworkers have planes either. I know they got cars, but I don't think any of them have planes and everything.
What are you guys doing? The company I was working with before was Principal Financial. They had 5 private jets, and one of them actually flew to our place to conduct interviews and stuff like that. So if you do work for major companies like Principal Financial, which is one of our companies, you do get escorted in private jets. I don't like going in them because they're too small, Mark. So I fly commercial because I like big, substantial planes rather than I'm in a private jet.
No private jets for you and everything. But I do have a question. Hey, Nick, what's up with this birthright citizenship? Because apparently that's back in the news as well. And all along those lines, and apparently President Trump is also running around talking about this notion of he wants to get some peace from these different countries. I think he's meeting with South Africa, he's meeting with these Middle Eastern countries. Is he just trying to bribe them? What's going on?
Mm. What it is that he's got a problem in the Constitution of the United States. If you're born inside the United States, you automatically become a U.S. citizen. Here's the angst that he hates, and this is what all the conservatives hate. They're going, well, these people are coming in from the border, dropping a kid inside the United States, all of a sudden, poof, that person's a U.S. citizen. And so he's trying to get that reversed. But the problem, Mark, it's in the Constitution. So that's next to impossible. It's embedded to get it reversed. And so the thing is, he's got a big road to hoe because of that. He would need to have a constitutional amendment to strike down that. So I think his chances of getting that getting that approved, in other words, saying, hey, if you're an illegal immigrant and you come to the United States and you have a kid, that your legal status still applies. I don't see how they're going to win that argument for the Supreme Court. So I give that to be a loss in his portfolio of litigation. I don't see how he wins it. Yeah, Dr.
Well, speaking of things being lost, the other thing that was interesting, and I'd love to hear what Nick and Rick and Sharif have to say about this and everything. But the Pope apparently wants people to sit down and negotiate with him about peace. So he seems like he is trying to be a peace Pope, but also a Pope that is warning about the dangers of AI. So he's also warned about the dangers of AI, which apparently the reason he picked Leo, his name, because the original Leo, or one of the original Leos, was very much anti the Industrial Revolution and everything like that. So it seems like he is laying down the gauntlet to the developed world that he is going to be, and for lack of a better term, an activist Pope, and he's going to be fighting certain things, and he really wants world peace. So he wants the world leaders to come and sit down with him so that we can have world peace. Is this even a feasibility or a reality of a possibility?
Good luck.
Sure, he's got some heft. He's got more moral heft than Trump does.
Yeah, Sharif, you had something you were wanting to say before.
Yeah, Professor Nick, when I joined, I'm trying to develop a community for Pod TV. And my objective that, let's say, I want to bring my 100 million people's community with Pod TV. So I think I want to share 10 good news from Asia, because trust me, if I'm audience and regularly I am discussing something, I'm hearing something about Trump. I think I will be depressed. So better bring some good news for your show. Number one good news: India-Pakistan ceasefire agreements, and Trump can get these credits because his administration play a major role for that. Iran moved towards FATF compliance. Iran Expeditions Council approved the Palermo Convention against transnational organization crime. So it will be major improvement in Iran. Foreign investment return to Asian market, we are observing in 2025 approximately 6.22 billion Asian equity reversing earlier outflows, and Taiwan and India lead this investment market. Indonesia tops well-being index. This is another achievement in Asia. Kazakhstan and Vietnam for strategic partnership. So this is another good news for Asian market, because two good countries doing business for in between them. And Prince Goswami wins gold in Japan. So this is another good news for Indian market, and this is bring Asia Pacific Sprint Cup 2025 that happened in the Japan. TUI opened first hotel in Cambodia. So Cambodia, even though it's a very small country, nobody care about Cambodia, but this is one of the largest investment happening in Cambodia. In Philippines, win first Asian Winter Games gold. I really love the Philippine people. They are always smiling and they are very helpful. And on the other hand, Asian reduce wildfire emissions. And finally, Thailand prepare for eco-friendly SEA Games. So in USA, they are care about this good news in Asia, or any media actually bring this kind of good news in their media, or
Yeah,
what
we like
TV
to hear
like
good news,
to
definitely. Sure.
yeah, what TV like
We,
to
we
bring all
definitely
of
like to
the
hear good news.
good news in the media, and bring the community from Vietnam, from Taiwan, from Philippines, from India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, all of the people together? Or you always want to fight with Trump and all of the things?
No, we don't want to fight with
Well,
Trump, but I do have a question for Sasha really quickly and for Nick. I was on an email call yesterday, and it was people that were involved in crypto. And I don't know how crypto is doing in Bangladesh or in the Middle East, but the young lady I was talking to told me that the crypto craze has run its course and that the it's not a good thing to invest in now. That I should have caught that bandwagon when it was a better bandwagon, is what the young lady told me, and everything like that. So I just wondered, for those of you that follow it, is crypto crashed and is crypto done, or is crypto going to have a rise since we have the new crypto coin that Trump put out, and some countries have their own crypto coin? So is this young lady that told me on social media that crypto has run its course, is that a true statement?
I don't know. I'm not interested in crypto. I'm interested in what Sharif is doing, and that's trying to bring the Asian market to Pod TV. Okay, the thing is, and you don't have to bring them on World Edition. We can create separate shows for them. Apparently, we're going to have another show for, just about Spain. In other words, it's all going to be a show about Spain. I'm not doing it. I had
Yes.
nothing to do with it. Mark
Yeah,
got these people that are part of the Spanish embassy. We're putting a show together. It's going to start next Wednesday regarding
yeah,
about Spain. We could do the same
Yes.
thing, Sharif, separate shows from World Edition on these people that you have in Asia, because
excellent.
we don't have much programming in the United States,
Yeah,
like on Vietnam, Bangladesh. You're the only person I know from Bangladesh. Okay, they just don't come over here. India, even Pakistan. I mean, Thailand. I mean, yeah, all that stuff. So we put separate shows together for them and broadcast them on the Pot TV network. I would have
yeah,
no problem doing that. This way, these narrow-minded Americans will actually get some exposure to the largest market in the world, which is where you live. It's not here.
Yeah.
So in terms of
Not in
population,
Spain either, Nick, and everything. But I did have a question for Sasha. Sasha, it seems that Mr. Putin is a no-show. He sent a diplomat, a spy, and some other people. Zelensky is there. I think Trump might be going there as well. So what's going on with this ceasefire? Because it's supposed to be a 30-day ceasefire that is supposed to be taking place, but there was supposed to be a meeting between Putin and Zelensky, and it seems like that is not taking place because he is a no show, and I didn't expect him to show. But what is your take on this whole peace talks?
Well, unfortunately, Trump is not following his own policy of peace through strength. He announced that, and it would work, but for various reasons, he's not going to follow on that, and so it will go the circus indefinitely. So there will be another round of talks, then will be talks about talks, and then we'll discuss. I even don't know what is there to discuss. It's a very straightforward proposal to have a 30 days ceasefire, and during that ceasefire, to discuss all the possibilities to end up war at once and wherever possible. But it seems to me, see, Russia cannot afford to stop the war. They have to keep fighting. That's their modus operandi. That's how their uh, politics, economy, everything is working. So if they cannot stop the war, but they don't want, they want to save Trump's face and saying, instead of saying, Trump, we're not going to stop the war, we are going to continue to fight. It's not diplomatic, and it's not something but what they can afford to do. So they're going to, because they don't want to face all the sanctions from Europe, from the United States, and increased weapons sent to Ukraine. So they want to keep it the same way. They attack Ukraine every day, several attacks. They're losing well over 1,000 people a day. Russian army is losing, but it doesn't matter. They never count their lives. What they have some uh, some kind of a village with 200 people. They can spend 3 months to take over this village and have, say, 10,000 of their own people being killed. It doesn't matter. They got yet another village, so their negotiations position will be stronger. So this is really horrible. And it could be all stopped at once, provided that even that package that Lindsey Graham has prepared already with tariffs of 500% on countries which would purchase Russian goods, including, of course, natural resources. That's ready, and there are, from what I heard last, 72 senators who will support this package. So that's ready to use, easy to use, but Trump has not agreed with that. He has his mercantile interest in Russia, and that obviously interferes with his position as the president of the country. And but United States people have elected the transactional Geschäft president. Okay, so you wanted it, you got it. Enjoy. What can I say?
Yeah, that makes sense. To Sharif's point earlier, and all along those lines, what is this is for both you, Sasha, and Rick, but what are some of the news stories coming out of California in your case, Rick, and in out of Canada in your case, Sasha, that people in Asia and other parts of the world might be interested in? Because Sharif is right, it is World Edition, and people like to hear about other parts of the world. So what is the major story coming out of California? So I'll start with you, Rick, but I want to hear the major story coming out of Canada as well.
An additional $12 billion budget shortfall, but Newsom is blaming it in part on tariffs. Shipping coming through the port of LA is down 25 to 30%.
Okay. And what's the big story coming out of Canada other than y'all's new president? What's the big story coming out of Canada on these particular days, Sasha?
Well, in Canada, we are trying to find other markets for our products, natural resources beside the U.S. Of course, that takes time. It's not easy to do. It's not going to go overnight, but we are working in that direction. And by the way, first shipment of oil has happened a couple months ago directly to China. There was a special pipeline was built from Alberta to near port of Vancouver, and that's where the shipment has already been made. And I expect more to follow. Also, there are efforts to bring pipeline to east of Canada. So from there could be shipments to Europe and probably other countries, Middle East perhaps. Although I doubt that the Middle East needs Canadian oil. Most likely not, but Europe definitely does. So we'll see how it will all develop. But definitely Canada cannot continue to rely on the United States as a trusted partner, as it was for many, many years before, but that's about to stop.
That makes sense. Hey, Sharif, I mentioned it earlier, and maybe Rick can do some research on it because I'm not next to my the computer where I was reading that earlier, and all along those lines. But apparently, there is a group of women. I want to say they're in Asia that might be the secret to longevity because apparently they are known for being some major divers and all along those lines. So I was just wondering, Rick, have you heard about this special group of divers and what it could do for the longevity of humans? Because I know a lot of times we start trying to figure out how to live longer and everything like that.
Well, I just heard you mention it earlier, but so I'm poking around.
Okay.
I think Japanese people, they have very good lifestyles and they get a longevities. I work with Silicon Valley teams with this David Woods, with Transhumanist Group. I think they have longevity research in Stanford and some other group of peoples. Actually, I translate one of the book. It's called The Death of Death. It's written by David Woods from London Futurist and some scientist from MIT. So I think this is interesting things. But if you see the Asia or specifically Bangladesh or India culture, you know that Ayurveda. Ayurveda is one of the way of like let's say my grandmother, my grandfather, they get long life. So most of them actually do not go for this modern medication and all of the things. They actually go for this Ayurveda, all of the natural treatments. Let's say we have a popular company, pharmaceutical company. It's called Hamdard. Hamdard means like it's a Urdu language, something like that, how I cure myself. How I cure myself. So you see that in India, in Bangladesh, even in Pakistan, especially in this South Asian region, we have a very good of source of Ayurveda. So my family, those who live in Canada and USA or in Australia, every year they come to Bangladesh and they took this kind of medicine. This can be, I do not know, but this can be a way of doing research, and maybe with the Western world we can do research and we can figure out more good medicine for curing disease and all of the things.
So I found the article on divers, and
Yes.
apparently associated with longevity is that their genes have mechanisms that help them keep their blood pressure low even when under stress. And it's known in longevity research that if the people whose resting, whose average blood pressure is 100 over 60 or less, uh, are much more likely to make it to 100 years old. But average blood pressure for most people is 110 or 120 over 70 or 80. But if you can keep your blood pressure at 100 over 60, your chances of living longer and the wear and tear on your circulatory system is much less. I take a very gentle blood pressure drug called Toprol, metoprolol, which I think is great. I think a lot of people should be on it, even if their blood pressure isn't super high.
I think Sasha,
Yeah.
you can respond on this topic because Mark Jetovi joined. Hi Jetovi.
Hey, everybody.
I don't know what to say. My late mother was a medical doctor, and I didn't follow in her steps, and I'm quite ignorant about medicine. And I'm trying to see doctors as rare as as possible. Last time I was in my doctor's office, probably 2 years ago, and not planning to see her very soon anyway.
So there's
Hey,
another thing you can do to help with your longevity, which is keep your blood pressure, your blood sugar low and regulated. That people with diabetes kind of age on an accelerated rate because all the sugar in their system, you're slowly cooking yourself. That like when turkey skin gets crunchy in the oven and turns brown, that's what happens when you have a ton of sugar in your system with diabetes. So if you can take a drug like metformin that gently controls your blood sugar, that's one more way to slow down aging.
Hey, Jacoby, just really quickly, one of the conversations that came up, and I'm going to turn it over to y'all just for a minute and everything along those lines, is this notion of longevity and what we can do to have a longer life and everything like that. So I know you got medical people in your family. Your wife is a nurse, I think, with a very small infants, if I remember correctly, and everything like that. So what do you think are the secrets to longevity?
Eat well, exercise well, just your norms. But there are people, actually, what we should look into is what they have over, where is it? There's the town in Italy that actually has some of the longest living people, and it's right off the coast, not Sicily, but I was looking at it. But they had exercise routines, their foods, and all the other stuff that they eat lead to a longer life. I mean, I don't have any secrets on it. That's
Jetovi, I think you're missing one important thing about this. I've read about it in a book of Harari, and he mentioned that not Harari. Sorry, my mistake. It was a book by, I remember when they discussed 10,000 practice of 10,000 times. If you do anything, you're becoming. I forgot. He's Canadian author. So he's talking about this village, and what is very important thing that in the houses they have more often than not 3 generations living together under one roof, and this is very important factor that the cultures, their habits, or so on, it's generating from or going on from one generation to another, and it brings closeness, it brings better community feeling, and that's what unites people quite a lot. It's not very typical arrangement for North American culture, where people live separately for most of the times, if not all the times. But again, that's been looked at and investigated. That's for sure. But there is very little we can do to implement it. There's
isn't they implement, where is it? Australia or somewhere, they implemented the 4-day work week. And it's actually going well. It's actually leading to a healthier life as well. I mean, low stress.
Yeah, Jatovi, I think even you should not think too much about Trump. It will helpful for your health and for your longevity. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I agree there. That dude he's already trying to kill us all with RFK Jr.
So, Rick, I know that you are one of the intelligent men around the world. So, do you visit or do you love to visit Bangladesh, or you want to visit?
Yeah, I would. I'd like to visit that whole, it's a really interesting part of the world.
Okay, very interesting. So, what you love to do if you come to Asia? What's your plan, or what you want to
I know
visit?
we went to, my wife used to work for a perfume company, and we visited East Asia, as opposed to you guys are South Asia for the, you're kind of in between, but we didn't get quite over to you guys. But I don't know. I mean, you've got big, nice cities. I like being in a city because I like going to the, I've got OCD about going to the gym. So wherever we go, I need to have a hotel with a gym in it. Other than that, I'm happy to do anything my travel companions want to do. What do you recommend doing in Bangladesh?
You are very intelligent. I recommend you maybe the visit. The Rabindranath Tagore House. It's near my place. So he win Nobel Prize, and he has a very artistic and creative house near my birthplace. So you can visit this kind of place. Maybe you can visit Chittagong. It's another place where it's the largest seaport in South Asia, and we have good food, we have good music, and maybe you can attend few conference as a speakers. It will give you some good network and relationship. And if you want to buy some things, I want to refer you Aron. Like we have handicraft, lot of handicraft, different kind of handicraft we have. So this is one of the things. And if you want to work with NGO, I want to say that BRAC is world largest NGO. It's in Bangladesh. So it's founded by Dr. Fazle Hassan Abed. So it may be interesting for all of you, for Rick, for Jatovi, and for Sasha. And beside that, I want to share interesting things. Right now, I'm working with one of my colleagues with the Bangladesh Stock Exchange Commissions. I know that Sasha is the expert of investment, right? So what we are doing, we are trying to develop new model for our stock exchange commissions. Uh, Maybe Sasha and those Rick or Jatovi or Nick or David Walker, those who interest, they can join in my team. I'm sure you can, your experience and your expertise. Uh, Definitely, it's a professional job. It's not volunteer work, so you can deploy it with our World Talent Economic Forum institution.
So if I visited Bangladesh, I'd also want to visit Nepal
Yeah,
because 20
beautiful
years ago
country.
I was on a game show and they asked me a question about the highest capital in the world. What national and one of the, and they they didn't have the right answer in there, which is well, it used one of them used to be Lhasa, Tibet, but Tibet's no longer an independent country. But La Paz, anyway, the correct answer is La Paz, Bolivia. But they didn't have that in there because they did faulty research. So I answered Kathmandu because it's like 50 miles from the highest point on Earth. And then when I found out that they screwed up their research and the correct answer wasn't even in there, I sued the game show and I lost. But I did a lot of research on Nepal and Kathmandu and Bhutan and the whole area. And you're right in the middle of all that. Bangladesh is only what, like 25 miles from the Nepal border?
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, if I'm going to visit Bangladesh, I guess I'm going to take a side trip to Kathmandu and see the city that I
yeah.
was part of my lawsuit.
Yeah, Kathmandu is a very beautiful place, and beside that, it's very cheap, so you can enjoy as a tourist in Kathmandu. Yeah, it's a beautiful place.
And
India also definitely very big place and good place to
well,
be.
you're surrounded by India. I'm looking at a map right now, and you have India to the west of you. You have a little teeny bit of India to the north, and then you have India to the east of you.
Yeah, India actually around us. Actually, that India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, before British came, we are one country, right? So so when British left in 1947 or 1945, so that time actually we divide this India and Pakistan based on religion. So that's why I do not like to depend too much of religion, because religion actually uh, divide people. That's why I like the concept of California, because I find that California people are very modern. They are not too much religious, but according to religion, all of the good human character, many of my friend has. So I believe that is one of the things we can
Yeah, people in
explore.
California are pretty nice, except when they're behind the wheel of a car, and then we get kind of obnoxious. But yeah, Bangladesh is you guys are like the eighth largest country on earth in population. Like you have like 171 million people. So you're a very successful country. In the US, we maybe don't hear as much about you, because the US news media is pretty bad about covering the rest of the world.
We're bad about covering the rest of the world. By the way, we have another guest. So, John, if you want to tell a little bit about yourself and what you've got going on as well, because I just saw that there was somebody and I must have invited them, but I'm always inviting people. So, John, share a little bit about what you've got going on.
We can't
Can
hear
we hear him?
John. I don't know what's happening there.
Yeah. Well, he's trying to adjust, so we'll try to see if we can get him on and everything like that. But yeah, we don't do a good job of covering a lot of things in the world and all along those lines. So that's something we've got to do a better job of, because a lot of times we're focused on whatever the sensational story of the year is and all along those lines. So yeah, we definitely got to do better. And that's what Dr. Sharif has been saying, because he's been trying to get us to understand more about what's going on in the world. What's the big news coming out of Thailand, Dr. Sharif? So what's happening out in Thailand that people might be interested in, or some of the other Asian theaters? You mentioned the ceasefire, and I do know that has been getting some airplay. But what are stories that people need to know that they don't know?
Okay, one of the interesting things, I think Jatovi will be interested also. I know that in my World Talent Economic Forum, we are working with one of the team, even from California. Is a future lab consulting. Anyway, so they develop a very good AI ecosystem in Thailand, and they are helping their uh, local ecosystem to uplifting the AI community. They are providing the training for the AI, and they are getting very good support. I think from Japan to develop this ecosystem, and I believe that they have a very good infrastructure. Thailand education system also good. Day by day, Asian education system is improving, like China, like Japan, like Taiwan. Many education system are improving. So this AI and AI ecosystem may be helpful uh, to develop more business in the global arena, and they can bring more success. Beside that, their healthcare system is good. Many right now we have a tension in between India and Bangladesh. India do not want Bangladeshi peoples go to India and get better treatments. So many Bangladeshi people actually go to uh, this Thailand, this Bangkok to get a better treatments. So yeah, so many good things is happening, lot of changing happening.
Yeah, it
So
sounds
that
like a lot of changes are happening. I see John's back. Hopefully, John can hear us, but I'm going to bring up some things that he brought up in chat, and maybe he'll clarify if we can be heard and everything. But he did say that Germany has conducted successful pilot programs with many companies expressing interest in continuing the 4-day model. Spain has launched government supported pilot programs to encourage companies to adopt a 4-day work week without cutting pay. And Portugal is running a government funded pilot with dozens of companies testing the 4-day work week. In Australia, several companies are participating in ongoing pilot programs for a 4-day work week. So Australia also has several companies participating in ongoing pilot programs for a 4-day work week. And France, while not mandated by law, the 35-hour work week makes 4-day schedules feasible, and some companies have adopted this model. Lithuania, parents with young children can legally work a 32-hour week, effectively a 4-day schedule. So I guess the question is, a lot of these countries are going 4 days. So what is our thoughts about this
Right. So
notion
U.S. workers consistently fail to protect their own interests. But we shouldn't just blame the workers. We should blame the owners. We talk about the American work ethic, but really it's the work ethic is another way of saying that we get fucked over by our employment conditions. You know, we get less maternity leave. You know, productivity since World War II per worker has gone up at least fivefold. And the American workers don't benefit from it. American workers' wages are stagnant. Our hours are, we don't get as many, you can be productive and work 30-hour work weeks like they do in Germany. And our protections, our pensions, our health coverage, all that goes away when you're working crappy gig economy jobs like Uber driver or DoorDash.
Yeah. Or DoorDash or Grubhub. By the way, John also answered, and it doesn't sound like his mic is working or what's going on, but he said that no country has universally mandated a 4-day work week for all sectors. These examples show a clear global trend toward shorter work weeks, especially in the public sector and through voluntary or pilot programs. So it does look like it is a global trend for us to have shorter work weeks, and hopefully we can get that mic situation situated and we can hear from John himself. But what is Jacoby, what is your take, and maybe even Sasha, on this notion of shorter work weeks? Because I know you're like me, Jacoby. You don't have a shorter work week. You work about 7 days a week, because I know that you're like me, working multiple jobs and always busy, and whether it's on entrepreneurship or a number of other things as well. So I'm thinking a 4-day work week would not do good for you, because between the bulls and some of the other things you're involved with, you are constantly working.
You guys are entrepreneurs. you're working for yourselves. You're building your own enterprises. And so, yeah, if you want to put in 60, 70, 90-hour weeks to build your own enterprise is good. But to work your ass off and not even get and have to piss in a bottle when you're on a delivery schedule for Amazon, which monitors how many deliveries you make per hour, it's ridiculous to work your ass off and suffer to make Bezos or some other billionaire another couple $100 million.
Well, I'll even take it even further than that, Rick. I mean, yes, there are the oddities, trying to do particular arenas in the workforce, and entrepreneur stuff. That's all different. That's the oddity. The norm is, I mean, if you look at dentists usually work about a 4-day work week. That's high productivity on a very high stress level job. So it actually lowers the stress. It increases productivity. It's actually a great thing to have that 4-day work week, especially for individuals, say in manufacturing, say in coding, say in other areas that we can actually get away with that 4-day work week. Heck, you have Google AI taking up 25% of coding, or 25% or more in coding on just coding AI or coding itself by utilizing the AI technologies. But you increase productivity in other arenas, increase health of your employees, employee retention, just a lot of positive things in a 4-day work week. So
the quality of the work. Do you really want to have a dentist on the 5th day of the week, after putting in 50 hours of work? Is that really the time you want a dentist drilling your tooth?
I think you got it backwards though, Rick. I think, do you want that dentist who's tired on that 5th day working your teeth?
No, that's the point. Yeah.
You don't want that tired dentist or that tired surgeon.
When I worked in late night TV, we do 4 shows a week because it was a tough job. I mean, almost all the late night shows do 4 shows a week because it helps maintain quality, because pumping out an hour every day is tough. And also, we were working, 60, 70-hour weeks, and to have to have a Friday where you could not have to produce a show and you could work on ideas for the more intricate ideas instead of just pumping out jokes. It was necessary for the quality of the show.
Sasha had a point he wanted to make. Sasha, what you guys saw your hands up?
I wanted to ask if you're making a point, as I understand that 4 days work week is better than 5, then I can propose even more radical idea: 3 days work week, which will be better than 4, and of course 5 as well. So why don't we move, say, Monday?
I can answer that.
Monday is hard. It's better to work Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Now Friday you're gonna have a free day to travel. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and half Thursdays to prepare.
So I can answer that for you, Sasha.
Yes.
The thing is, when they've done the studies and done the research and done the histrionics behind it and stuff like that, they found the high productivity around that 4-day work week. So when you're starting to add in the 3-day work weeks and stuff like that, you're adding in more hours. Nurses, firemen, police officers, so on and so forth, they do a 3 days on and a 4 days off because of the high stress level. So it's all about productivity around that actually arena or that job itself. So truthfully, a 4-day work week is the best and most ideal, as as pointed out by John, with Australia, with the pilot programs, the same thing in Germany. And this is why right now in the US, we have the highest stress level. We work so many hours and don't get much paid for it. But when you lower those hours and actually do that 4-day work week, you actually end up with better productivity. That's what a lot of people have found out. So yes, it's already been tested, the 3-day work week, or even if you want to go super exaggerate and say the 2-day work week or the 1-day work week.
So medical error is the 3rd leading cause of death in America, behind cancer and heart disease, killing 250,000 Americans a year. And you got to figure that a significant percentage of those deaths, those errors leading to death, are from people who are fatigued and overworked. And yeah,
I
we
mean,
have
well,
a
one of
doctor, hold on, we have a doctor shortage. We're down. We need 20,000 more doctors, and there's no 200,000 more doctors in the U.S. And I don't know if we'll get them, but with AI reducing some of medical professionals' workloads, maybe we can, take some of the pressure off of the
Rick, along those same lines, isn't fatigue part of the problem with the air traffic controllers? Because I know Kim and others have brought up the fact that we've had several planes falling out of the sky lately and everything, and some of that is a shortage of employees.
The guy that was in charge of the helicopter that crashed into the jet that killed the 68 ice skaters, he was handling both takeoffs and landings and was, I don't know how many hours deep into his rotation. At Newark Airport, they are so down in staff that there was a period where they only had one person on the desk plus an assistant handling 180 takeoffs and landings an hour, which is insanity. Yeah, we're way down with air traffic controllers. DOJ fired a bunch of controllers in training. People had already gone to the air traffic college and were now interning, in which takes you have to shadow the experienced air traffic controllers for a couple of years before they set you loose on planes by yourself. And a bunch of people in that pipeline got let go.
Yep, no doubt. Hey, Rick, speaking of DOJ really quickly, we've only got a few more minutes. Hopefully we can get John back on a future episode where we can get his mic going and everything along those lines. But just really quickly along those same lines, speaking of DOJ and what they've done, apparently the Library of Congress was let go of, and I think that the Trump press secretary said that part of the reason of letting her go was that she was providing some books in the library that they found offensive. And the last time I checked, the Library of Congress was a research library.
So that's super stupid because the job of the Library of Congress is to have a copy of every single book published within the United States. So yeah, she was going to have some LGBTQ books there because they were published, but she also has every other book published in the US, including, I'm sure, hundreds and thousands of books that contain vicious racism or anti-gay sentiment. If it was published here, it's in the Library of Congress.
Just to point out, you know what books really haven't been are the ones that you just spoke about. Mein Kampf, I think, is still in there. Some of the other anti-Semitic, Nazi stuff, and a whole bunch of things dealing, being pro-racist, are still out there in the Library of Congress. And actually, if I remember, wasn't it Mein Kampf that's still in the where they pulled the books about Harriet Tubman, but kept in the books about Mein Kampf?
Probably so.
So,
I mean, maybe it could be. She's served as Librarian of Congress for 9 years out of it. You're supposed to be appointed for 10 years. Right. So if they just waited, she would have termed out anyway. But no, and it could be that somebody pointed out to Trump that she's a black lady.
That is what happened. Let's be honest here. I mean, we have to be just open and honest. Think about it. They literally are pulling citizenship status from black and brown people, even from Africa. But then take a look. They are called illegal aliens. They are called threats and everything else. But who's considered a refugee? The white people from South Africa who attacked. There is no genocide happening to them. So let's be honest with what's going on in our society with this group. We literally hired a guy, or they literally voted in a guy who then hired some dude who said, if you want to get anything done, you got to hire a competent white man. You have Stephen Miller, who's a blatant white supremacist. He's an over white supremacist anyway. So what are we expecting? So we have to be honest. This is why, for me, when we talk about these things, we cannot sanitize them. We cannot add this if this was. That's not true. It is what it is now. They're going after black and brown people at schools, at courthouses, and everywhere else. But they're letting these people in. And then they're taking out, they're blaming airplane crashes on black people. Oh no, DEI. But then you hire some lady who couldn't pass the board for the doctor's exam as the top surgeon general. You hire a dude who's swimming in pool water. Yes, he swam in E. coli and all the other deadly bacteria water as head of HHS, who then went just yesterday and said, you shouldn't believe me in terms of health care advice. Dude, you're head of HHS. You're supposed to be giving health care advice. So
that's part of your job and everything like that. Just really quickly, Rick, you had a comment you were making. I think I'll end with Sharif since John bounced out and everything like that. Hopefully we'll get him back, but he did bring up some good things about the work week and everything like that. But what was your point you were going to make, Rick?
The white refugees from South Africa, the Afrikaners, people have been pointing out that a bunch of them are super fat, which doesn't usually line up with refugees. They show this one guy, I think the fattest guy is about 6'2", about, 280, just a big, round, beefy guy, which doesn't speak to deprivation and suffering. It speaks to a guy who has visited a lot of buffets.
Yeah, hey, they're rich white people. And they're coming in because, oh no, they don't like the fact that black people got treated equally.
Yep. Dr. Sharif, if you want to wrap up, because I got to get ready to get to my tour, and then I'll do that for about 30, 45 minutes, and I'll be back at noon for the recording of Sasha's chess show and everything like that. So, Dr. Sharif, what are your final points you want to bring up?
The final point is that the Pod TV has great future to bring diversified cultures, diversified peoples, a lot of good things and idea together and make things happen. So hopefully we will go like these positive discussions and bring more progress. Thank you.
No problem. So like I said, get ready to end the show maybe a minute or two earlier because I got my folks here for the tour, but I'll see Sasha at 12 with the chess recording and all along those lines. And we also have the show about venture capital at 1 o'clock. But I'm going to end this show and get ready to see you fine gentlemen. Sasha, I'll see you in about an hour, and I'll see the other folks in about 2 hours. So everybody have a great one, and I'll see you tomorrow, Sharif. So everybody have a great one, and we're going to end it.